A Hungarian citizen is facing murder charges after investigations into two separate deaths in Miami-Dade County identified him as the responsible party, according to an arrest warrant. Zsolt Zsolyomi, 25, was taken into custody on Wednesday night and charged with second-degree murder for his alleged involvement in the deaths linked to cases in Miami Beach and the Little Havana neighborhood of Miami. The City of Miami police stated that both victims were elderly men with disabilities. Zsolyomi, who has been identified as a Hungarian national, appeared before Miami-Dade Circuit Court Judge Mindy Glazer. A Hungarian interpreter was also present to translate the judge's statements for him. Zsolyomi traveled to the United States 3 years ago from PN, a town in Pest County. However, he wasn't just seeking better opportunities, he was fleeing trouble. The ground was burning beneath his feet, as the Hungarian police had issued 3 active warrants for his arrest. He was wanted in the city of Sharvis for fraud, in Pest County for disorderly conduct, and he had also failed to report to a Budapest prison to serve a legally binding sentence for theft. His warrant can still be found on the official website of the Hungarian police. Zsolyomi entered the U.S. with a valid visa, which the immigration authorities only revoked after the murders. The case that led to Zsolyomi's arrest began as a homicide investigation in Miami Beach in November. At approximately 13:30 on November 21st, Miami Beach police received a report of a deceased man inside an apartment at 1010 Pennsylvania Avenue. Upon arrival, officers met with the victim's family, who identified him as 66-year-old Carlos Alonso Villaquiran. According to the arrest warrant, Villaquiran's family became worried when he failed to show up for work that morning. After multiple unanswered calls to his phone, they decided to check on him at his apartment. They knocked on his door but received no response, prompting them to borrow a spare key from the property manager. Upon entering, the family found Villaquiran in the bathroom, unresponsive and not breathing. They immediately called 911, and both police and Miami Beach Fire Rescue arrived at the scene. However, paramedics were unable to revive him, and he was pronounced dead. Following police protocol, homicide detectives took over the investigation. When detectives arrived, they discovered Villaquiran face down in the bathtub, with his head and upper body partially submerged in about 6.5 inches of water. The warrant also noted that Villaquiran had previously undergone an amputation of his right leg below the knee. However, the document did not specify the cause of the amputation, and an initial examination of his body revealed no visible external trauma. The investigation led detectives to security footage from a Nest camera mounted on the second floor near the building's stairway. The footage captured a man, later identified as Zsolyomi, dressed in dark clothing and a baseball cap, entering and exiting Villaquiran's apartment multiple times between 9:30 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. the night before the body was found. In the final instance, Zsolyomi was seen locking the apartment door with a key, and no other individuals were observed entering the unit afterward. Villaquiran's brother informed police that his brother's car, a 2002 Honda CR-V, was missing from its usual parking spot. After searching the vehicle's license plate, investigators determined that the car was last seen driving west on the MacArthur Causeway at around 11:55 p.m., at least 20 minutes after Zsolyomi was last seen leaving the apartment. The following day, the Miami-Dade medical examiner conducted an autopsy, revealing that Villaquiran died from homicidal violence, including strangulation. The examiner found internal trauma on both sides of his neck, a fractured left rib, and a broken hyoid bone, a small bone in the front of the neck beneath the jaw. Based on these findings, the suspicious death was officially classified as a homicide. During a forensic search of Villaquiran's iPhone, Detectives uncovered an extensive text exchange between him and a contact named Thomas. The messages indicated that the two men were in an intimate relationship and frequently met at Villaquiran's apartment. However, one particular conversation drew the detectives' attention. In the messages, the two men arranged to meet at Villaquiran's apartment on Halloween before heading to Lincoln Road. Detectives reviewed surveillance footage from that evening, which confirmed that Villaquiran and Thomas left and later returned to the apartment together. Photos from the night also showed Thomas wearing an ankle monitor. Further analysis of the text messages revealed that in the days following Halloween, the exchanges between the two became increasingly tense. Villaquiran accused Thomas of assaulting him and stealing his belongings. "I can't believe what you did to me and what you took from me," Villaquiran wrote in a message to Thomas, accompanied by a photo of a visible injury to his right eye. Initially, Thomas denied any wrongdoing but later admitted, "Sometimes I don't know what I do when I'm drunk." Before repeatedly apologizing, Villaquiran repeatedly asked for his stolen phone and other belongings to be returned. He also warned that if they were not returned, he would file a police report. In response, Thomas pleaded with him not to contact law enforcement and offered to return to the apartment to give back his belongings. However, Villaquiran refused, stating that he was afraid of him and never wanted to see him again. Further analysis of the messages revealed that Villaquiran had discovered that Thomas was actually using a false name and that his real identity was Zsolyomi. Villaquiran informed him that he knew his true identity and planned to report him to the police for assault and theft. As the investigation progressed, detectives uncovered additional details about Zsolyomi. They learned that he was a Hungarian national listed by U.S. Customs and Border Protection as an illegal overstay. He had been fitted with a GPS ankle monitor after being released from custody following a previous arrest in Miami Beach in July 2024. At that time, he had identified himself to police as Thomas Gray. Detectives confirmed that Thomas and Zsolyomi were the same person by cross-referencing his phone number with the number used in the text messages. Further evidence linking Zsolyomi to the crime emerged when detectives discovered that Villaquiran's Honda CR-V had been involved in a hit-and-run accident on the night of the murder at the intersection of SW 13th ST and 22nd Avenue in Miami. Witnesses reported seeing a man resembling Zsolyomi flee the scene on foot after the crash. Investigators later retrieved Villaquiran's vehicle from the impound lot and transported it to the Miami Beach Police Forensic Lab. Inside the car, they found fingerprints that matched Zsolyomi's. CBS News Miami interviewed one of Villaquiran's brothers, who described his sibling as a good person. However, the family declined to make further comments at this time. On January 20th, Miami Beach police detectives were informed of another case under investigation by the City of Miami Police, involving a suspicious death that had occurred the previous day. According to initial reports, Miami police officers responded to a possible hit and run near NW 2nd ST and 14th Avenue just before a.m. on January 19th. Upon arrival, officers discovered 71-year-old Rodolfo Fernandez de Velasco unresponsive in the driver's seat of a 2014 Kia Soul. Both front seat belts were tightly wrapped around his neck, according to Miami police. The Miami-Dade Medical Examiner's Department later determined that Velasco had died from asphyxiation and officially ruled his death a homicide. Surveillance footage from a nearby residence captured a man resembling Zsolyomi exiting the passenger side of the vehicle, jumping over the car, and fleeing the scene. The video also showed the car crashing into a sidewall before the suspect ran away, Miami police reported. Investigators processed fingerprints found on the vehicle and identified them as belonging to Zsolyomi, after cross-referencing images and fingerprints from both the Miami Beach and Little Havana murder cases and working alongside Customs and Border Protection's designated intelligence office law enforcement officials, concluded that Zsolyomi was responsible for both killings. Detectives then secured a warrant for Zsolyomi's arrest and located him in downtown Miami on Wednesday night. After being taken in for questioning, Zsolyomi confessed to both murders and was subsequently taken into custody. Zsolt Zsolyomi's mother is on the verge of a complete breakdown after learning that her son is accused of 2 brutal murders in Florida. The 26-year-old man is facing either the death penalty or life imprisonment. His mother's only wish is to look him in the eyes one last time and say goodbye, something she is now seeking the help of legal advocates to achieve. Neighbors and acquaintances in Hungary were shocked by the news. Some remember Zsolt as a kind, respectful boy, while his former girlfriend is puzzled by the fact that the handsome man met his elderly victims in gay bars and then killed them. The mother learned about her son's arrest from news reports. The last time she spoke with Zsolt was a month ago, ironically, just after he had allegedly committed the second murder, when he assured her that he was doing well, had changed his ways, and was living an honest life. In the state of Florida, the charges against Zsolyomi, including murder committed for financial gain, with extreme cruelty, premeditation, and against elderly victims, are punishable by the death penalty, which can be carried out. Executions in Florida are conducted by lethal injection at the state prison in Orlando. If you enjoyed this mystery, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories, unsolved cases, and fascinating investigations. Stay curious, and see you in the next mystery.